Ира, вот прилетела.
Despite withdrawing from Sudzha, Ukrainian forces continue to strike deep behind enemy lines. A recent precision attack, reportedly using Himars, targeted a Russian military base in Kozyrevka, just 21 kilometers northeast of Sudzha. This strike is part of a broader effort to disrupt Russian logistics and movement in the Kursk region, forcing Moscow to divert resources and rethink its defensive strategy. As Ukraine shifts towards high-impact, long-range strikes, even areas once thought secure are now vulnerable, proving that withdrawal does not mean weakness, it means adaptation. This is a previously classified footage, which shows the pipe leading to Sudzha is filled with Russian bodies. The idea of the Russian command to attack Ukrainians behind their lines seemed successful, but turned into a disaster. They traveled 15 kilometers without fresh air, saturated with methane, and when they finally reached Ukrainian side, they were decimated with cluster munitions. For many, this became a one-way trip. This newly declassified footage reveals the grim reality of Russia's failed assault. What was meant to be a surprise infiltration turned into a death trap. Packed into a methane-filled pipe for 15 kilometers, Russian troops emerged weakened, disoriented, and straight into a lethal Ukrainian ambush. The precision use of cluster munitions ensured there were no second chances. This disaster underscores not only the recklessness of Russian command, but also Ukraine's ability to turn enemy plans into their own advantage, reminding Moscow that every misstep comes at a deadly cost. Gherkin Strelkov on the front line situation, same old story. Russia has achieved nothing beyond minor tactical gains. The Ukrainian forces will withdraw from Sudzha without a fight, hardly a victory for Russia. Once again, Russia is waging war half-heartedly. Classic. Now, briefly on the situation at the front, the enemy continues its strategic defensive operation, and, unfortunately, continues it quite successfully overall. During the winter campaign, our troops once again managed to achieve only tactical successes and failed to break through the front or defeat opposing Ukrainian armed forces units anywhere. The enemy's front has remained generally stable, and battles for the most tactically important positions have been ongoing since autumn. Dzerzhinsk, Toretsk, Chasiv Yar, the outskirts of Pokrovsk, the Kupiansk area, Vovchansk, etc. It is likely that our troops will soon be able to capture Sudzha, as the Ukrainian armed forces are withdrawing their units from the encirclement. Whether prolonged urban battles can be avoided remains unclear, but it is quite possible that Sudzha will be abandoned by the enemy without a fight. In any case, this tactical success, which propaganda will undoubtedly present as a great victory, will not have a significant impact on the overall strategic situation and will not create a turning point. After the muddy season, we face another battle for the initiative. It is highly likely that our side will win it, but we currently lack, and will continue to lack in the coming months, the strength to turn tactical successes into strategic ones. Fighting half-heartedly against a significantly weaker enemy that is waging total war is extremely difficult, and we are not doing very well at it. Vladimir Putin has made his first visit to the Kursk region since the Ukrainian army advanced into Russian territory. Putin is wearing military fatigues, something he hasn't done in a while, as a show of force and a display of presence as Russian forces advance. It's ironic and sad that a supposedly great military power boasts of victory, declared by its commander-in-chief, over a small settlement on its own territory, 7 months after Ukrainians entered Kursk. Even more pathetic is that this progress was only achieved through U.S. pressure, which involved cutting military aid and intelligence support for Ukraine. Russians have taken 0.57% of territory in 2 years. And don't let Kursk fool you. They're getting scudded. We are not falling for their propaganda. They're doing nothing. Everyone's talking about the Ukrainian imminent retreat from Kursk. I think they should retreat too. But not enough people are talking about how they pulled Pokrovsk out of encirclement and are also on their way to encircle the Russians in Toretsk. The Ukrainian General Staff confirms that Ukrainian forces carried out strikes on key Russian infrastructure overnight. Hits were recorded at Moscow's oil refinery, supplying up to 50% of the city's fuel, and a control station for the Druzhba pipeline in Oryol. And Russia halts oil supplies to Hungary after Moscow refinery attack. Hungarian Foreign Minister Szijjártó. The strike damaged a key measurement station on the Druzhba pipeline, disrupting flows. Szijjártó called it an attack on sovereignty, but said deliveries could resume later if repairs proceed swiftly. What happened to Kellogg? Possibly a bit too positive on Ukraine when he visited Kyiv and the front line. According to some informations, Kellogg has likely been removed from negotiations on Russia's war against Ukraine. Zelensky. Ukraine accepts the U.S. proposal for a 30-day full ceasefire, on the front line, in the skies, and at sea. We are ready for peace. The U.S. will need to convince Russia. If they agree, the silence begins immediately. The U.S. is also restoring defense aid and intelligence sharing. The time has come for the truth. Will Russia end the war or continue it? I received a report from our delegation on their meeting with the American team in Saudi Arabia. The discussion lasted most of the day and was good and constructive. Our teams were able to discuss many important details. Our position remains absolutely clear. Ukraine has been seeking peace from the very first second of this war, and we want to do everything to achieve it as soon as possible and in a reliable way, so that war does not return. At this meeting with the Americans, Ukraine proposed 3 key points: silence in the skies, stopping missile strikes, bombs, and long-range drone attacks, silence at sea, real confidence-building measures in this whole situation, in which diplomacy is ongoing, which primarily means the release of prisoners of war and detainees, both military and civilian, and the return of Ukrainian children who were forcibly transferred to Russia. The American side understands our arguments and considers our proposals. I am grateful to President Trump for the constructive conversation between our teams. During today's talks, the U.S. side proposed taking an even bigger first step: a 30-day full interim ceasefire, not only stopping missile, drone, and bomb attacks, not only in the Black Sea, but also along the entire front line. Ukraine is ready to accept this proposal. We see it as a positive step and are ready to take it. Now it is up to the United States to convince Russia to do the same. If Russia agrees, the ceasefire will take effect immediately. But Zelensky presented the red lines also. We will never recognize any territories occupied by Russia.
About red lines, as a president and Ukrainians, as citizens of their country, will not violate their constitution, will defend sovereignty and our independence, defending Volodymyr Zelensky, our people and our land. It is very difficult for us to fight against such an enemy, that's clear, but today we are fighting for our independence. And therefore we will not recognize any occupied territories as part of the Russian Federation. That is a fact. Our people have fought for this, our heroes have died. How many wounded, how much has happened, therefore no one will forget about this. And when I say that no one will forget about this, it's the most important thing. The red line. We will not let anyone forget about this crime against Ukraine.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.